Good morning, beloved. Before anything else, take a breath. Not a shallow breath, but one that reaches deep into your soul. This moment isn't routine, it's sacred. If someone you love is in pain, write their name in the comments. If your heart feels tired, just type Amen as a sign of surrender. And if this prayer touches your spirit, glorify God with a comment, because someone else might read it and feel seen for the first time in days. Now close your eyes, not to hide, but to open yourself to what the world can't offer. Because right now, the atmosphere is shifting, heaven is leaning in, and the one who holds the stars has not forgotten your name. Life doesn't always shout. Sometimes it crushes you with silence. You wake up, go through the motions, but inside the ache doesn't leave. You smile, you function, but no one sees the weight behind your eyes. You've prayed before, you've cried alone, you've believed for change. But instead, the silence grew louder. This isn't just hardship, it's a spiritual war. But what if this isn't punishment? What if the silence is the soil and the pain is the plow? Because before God brings the harvest, he breaks the ground. And in the deepest pain, he plants the deepest promises. Zechariah 9:12 says, "Return to your stronghold, O prisoners of hope. Today I declare that I will restore to you double." Prisoners of hope. That's what we are. Not prisoners of circumstance, not of fear, not of pain, but of hope. Hope that refuses to die. Hope that whispers even in the fire, God is not done. You may feel broken, but you are not abandoned. You may feel crushed, but you are not cursed. You are in the hands of the potter, and broken clay is what he reshapes with the most care. There are moments when fear tries to rewrite your identity. It tells you you're too late, too weak, too far gone. But the word of God doesn't agree. Isaiah 57 says, "Because the sovereign Lord helps me, I will not be disgraced. Therefore I have set my face like flint, and I know I will not be put to shame." That means your story is not shame. It's strength waiting to rise. It's oil being pressed in the secret place. And its purpose being purified in fire. The enemy has no power over you, only suggestions, only lies, only distractions. And the moment you stop agreeing with fear, he loses his grip. Lift your eyes. You are not surrounded by defeat. You are surrounded by glory in disguise. Yes, it's messy. Yes, it's dark. But even in the womb, before the light, God forms miracles in secret, and he's forming something in you. Sometimes we think miracles look like lightning, but often they begin as stillness, not a sudden shout, but a slow stirring. You may not feel anything yet, but don't mistake the quiet for absence. Don't confuse the waiting for punishment. What looks like delay is often divine setup. Habakkuk 2:3 says, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." There is an appointed time, not just for everyone else, but for you. He sees you, not just the version you show to the world, but the exhausted one, the broken one, the one who's been holding back tears for weeks. He sees that you've been faithful, even in fear, even in weakness, even in silence. And he's proud. He's not waiting for perfection. He's waiting for surrender. So bring it all to him. The guilt, the bitterness, the questions, the fatigue, lay it down. Because his mercy isn't just for the holy, it's for the hurting. His love isn't earned, it's poured, and he's not ashamed of your wounds. He's ready to use them. Maybe you've been carrying things God never asked you to carry. Maybe you've been trying to fix what only he can redeem. Or maybe you've been measuring your worth by your mistakes. But hear this clearly now. Joel 2:25 says, "I will restore to you the years the locusts have eaten." Not just moments, years. Time you thought was wasted, seasons you regret, relationships that left scars. Nothing is too damaged for his restoration. Nothing. There is strength in you that suffering awakened. There is oil in you that pressure unlocked. There is glory in you that only fire could reveal, and God is using all of it. Every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every night you almost gave up. He's building something eternal, something weighty, something unshakable. So don't run. Don't numb the pain. Don't silence the ache. Let it cry out before the Lord. He's not afraid of your emotions. He doesn't need your filters. He wants your heart. So give it. Give it raw. Give it trembling. Give it with doubt still lingering in the background, because even a mustard seed is enough for him to move mountains. And you, child of God, you are still in the middle of your story. And the author, he never drops his pen. He finishes what he begins. You are not your trauma. You are not your delay. You are not what they did to you. You are what heaven says you are. Loved, held, fought for. You were never alone. Even in the darkest night, he stood over you. Even in the deepest shame, he wrapped you in grace. Even when you stopped praying, he never stopped watching. Psalm 91:4 promises, "He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart." That's who he is. Faithful when we fail, steady when we sink, present when we forget to look for him. So come back, not to religion, but to relationship, to that sacred place where your soul remembers who it belongs to. No title needed, no performance required, just you and him. Let the tears fall, not out of defeat, but out of release. Let your walls down, not because you're weak, but because you're ready. Ready to be healed, ready to be whole, ready to believe again. Even if all you have is a whisper, let it rise. Even if all you have is a broken Jesus, he hears it. And even now, he's moving toward you. You don't need lightning, you don't need fire. All you need is to surrender. Because in surrender there is safety, and in his presence nothing stays the same. And just as you let go, you'll feel it. Not a voice, not a vision, but a weight lifting, a stirring deep within that says, something is shifting. Don't leave yet. This isn't the end. It's the place where the healing begins. There is a moment in every battle when the warrior doesn't feel strong. A sacred space between what was and what is coming, where faith is tested and the soul feels fragile. And that's where you are now. Not because you failed, but because you've been faithful longer than most would endure. You've stood in the middle of chaos. You've whispered prayers when your voice was gone. You've stayed, even when your heart was ready to run, and heaven has seen every second. This isn't weakness. This is the weight of endurance. This is the fire that forges steel. Proverbs 24:10 says, "If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. But you have not fainted. You've bent, you've wept, but you're still standing. That alone is worship. Your survival is a song. Your scars are sacred. Your breath is proof that grace still holds you, and what's coming will make the wait worth it." Maybe no one checked in on you. Maybe no one noticed the battles you fought silently. But God did. He saw you when you didn't know what to say. He heard what your mouth never voiced. He held you when your strength failed, and he is not done. Not with your story, not with your family, not with the dreams you thought were lost. Because God is a God of return. Hosea 6:1 says, "Come, let us return to the Lord. He has torn us to pieces, but he will heal us. He has injured us, but he will bind up our wounds." This isn't the end. This is the return to joy, the return to peace, the return to hope. You're not here by coincidence. You've been drawn back, not by guilt, but by love. That love never kept score. It never walked away. It waited for you to stop surviving and start surrendering. The world tells you to be strong, God invites you to be still. The world says to hide your tears. God says he collects everyone. Psalm 126:5 says, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy." So cry, let it out, not because you're giving up, but because you're letting go. You've carried burdens that were never yours to hold. You've tried to fix things that only God can redeem, and he's not asking you to do more. He's asking you to trust deeper. Trust when it's quiet. Trust when it's delayed. Trust when it hurts. Because what you can't see is already shifting, even now. There are prayers you prayed years ago that haven't been forgotten. They're seeds in the soil of time. And God doesn't waste seeds. He doesn't forget tears. He doesn't ignore the cries of the faithful. You may not remember what you prayed in desperation, but heaven recorded it. Ecclesiastes 11:4 says, "He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap." Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for everything to align. Faith moves forward, even in fog, and you, right now, are walking by faith. Even when you feel lost, that's courage, that's power, that's worship. Sometimes deliverance doesn't come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes with peace in the middle of pressure. Sometimes it's not a door that opens, but a chain that breaks inside your heart, and something is breaking now. The lies you believed, the shame you carried, the fear that paralyzed your prayers, they're losing their grip. Because the more you lean into him, the less room the enemy has. Isaiah 41:13 says, "For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, 'Do not fear, I will help you.'" Did you hear that? He will help you. Not maybe. Not if you're perfect, not when you get it together, but now, right here, right in this moment of surrender. He's not asking you to prove yourself. He's just asking you to be present. You don't need a polished prayer. You don't need fancy words. You need a real heart, the kind of heart that aches but believes, the kind of heart that's tired but refuses to quit, the kind of heart that says, "God, I still trust you, even when I don't understand you." That's the heart he draws near to. That's the altar he answers with fire. And fire is coming, not to destroy, but to purify, to burn away what fear built, to consume the lies you wore like armor, to ignite again what this world tried to extinguish. Because there's a calling on your life, one the enemy fought hard to silence, one that the noise tried to bury, but it's not dead, it's just waiting. And the waiting has not been in vain. There are people connected to your obedience. There are lives waiting on your yes. When you rise, others rise. When you heal, others find hope. When you stand, others remember they're not alone. So don't underestimate your pain. It's producing something eternal. Romans 8:18 says, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us." You were not created to stay in the valley. You were formed for the climb, not because the mountain is easy, but because the one who called you is faithful, and he will climb it with you. This isn't just a season of waiting, it's a season of becoming more dependent, more refined, more aligned with his heartbeat. The world around you may not see it yet, but heaven is cheering, because you're choosing faith over fear. You're choosing presence over performance. You're choosing surrender over striving. That's power, and that's what breaks generational chains. Lift your eyes, not just to the skies, but to the one who rides above them, the one who never sleeps, never slumbers, never forgets. Psalm 121:3-4 says, "He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber." He's been watching all along, and while you were worrying, he was working. You don't have to beg. You don't have to fear. You just have to trust, and even when your trust feels small, it's enough, because he's not measuring your faith. He's measuring your heart, and yours is still beating with hope. You're still here, still breathing, still believing even with trembling hands. That alone is worship. That alone shakes hell. Because every time you choose faith in the fire, you remind the darkness who your Father is. And now, heaven leans in closer. Because what you release next will make room for what he's been waiting to pour. Don't stop now. The breakthrough isn't around the corner. It's already on the move. There are moments when your spirit knows something before your mind can explain it. A stirring that doesn't come from emotion, but from eternity. That's what this is. Something holy, something hidden, something rising. Not because the battle has ended, but because something in you has shifted. The fear is still around, but it doesn't feel as loud. The weight is still real, but your knees are stronger now, and you begin to realize peace isn't the absence of storms. It's the presence of God in the middle of them. There was a time you prayed for peace to come like a flood. Now, you see that peace often comes like a whisper. It doesn't force its way in. It waits to be welcomed. And once you welcome it, everything changes. Not always on the outside, but deep within. And that's where real victory lives. Psalm 34:4 says, I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. Not just from trouble, but from fear. Because fear is the root that strangles purpose. Fear is the thief that dresses like logic. Fear is the mask the enemy wears when he wants to keep you stuck. But today, that mask is falling. Today, the lie is exposed. You were never abandoned. You were being trained in trust. And trust is not a feeling, it's a decision. You choose it when the answer doesn't come. You choose it when the door stays closed. You choose it when your voice shakes. But you pray anyway, and that choice, that whisper of God, I still believe, that's where the enemy loses. He didn't want your house. He didn't want your job. He wanted your faith, because faith is dangerous. Faith moves mountains. Faith breaks generational curses. Faith opens prison doors, even when no key is in sight. And today, your faith is doing more than you know. There's a story being written in the unseen. While you sleep, heaven is working. While you wait, God is rearranging things in your favor. And while you worship, angels are dispatched with answers. Daniel 10:12 says, Do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. The first day, not the 10th, not after weeks of striving, the first. That means your faith initiated movement in the heavens, even before you saw a single result. And that still applies now. You may not see it, but something is coming. And when it comes, it won't just answer your prayer, it will change your posture. Because what's forming in you isn't just an answer to one need, it's preparation for a greater purpose. The crushing was never about the pain, it was about the oil. The pressure wasn't to break you, it was to release what was hidden inside you all along. Micah 7:8 says, Do not gloat over me, my enemy. Though I have fallen, I will rise. This is your rise, not in your own strength, but in His. There is power in your stillness. When the world rushes and you wait, that's worship. When anxiety demands control and you release it, that's trust. When your flesh wants noise but you choose silence, that's spiritual strength, and heaven honors that kind of faith. Because that kind of faith is rare. That kind of faith changes legacies. That kind of faith causes hell to tremble. You're not here just to survive. You're here to walk in authority. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead is in you, not beside you, not around you, in you. Romans 8:11 says, If the Spirit of Him who raised Jesus from the dead is living in you, He who raised Christ will also give life to your mortal bodies. That means your weakness is not your ceiling, it's the canvas for His strength. So stop apologizing for being broken. God builds altars with broken stones. Stop hiding your history. Your testimony is the very tool God will use to free others. What shamed you before will become the weapon of your victory. The enemy can't take what you surrender. He can't hold what you place in God's hands. So place it all, your past, your future, your questions, your dreams. Place it on the altar and leave it there, because you don't need to carry what Jesus already conquered. There are generations inside of you. There are prayers buried in your bloodline. There are promises waiting for your yes. Don't stop now. You're not just breaking through for you, you're breaking through for every name attached to your destiny. You're standing in the gap, and when you stand, God sends fire. This fire doesn't destroy, it refines, it purifies motives, it awakens truth, it silences doubt. And once it touches you, you can't go back to normal, you can't go back to fear, you can't go back to small thinking, you can't go back to survival mode. Because when the Spirit of God ignites your soul, everything begins to burn with purpose, and purpose makes the pain make sense. It doesn't erase the hurt, but it transforms it. It turns scars into stories, wounds into weapons, tears into rivers of compassion. Psalm 84:6 says, "As they pass through the valley of Baca, they make it a place of springs." The valley of Baca was a place of weeping, but the faithful turned it into a place of refreshing. That's your assignment now, to turn what hurt you into healing, to turn what emptied you into overflow, to turn what was meant to destroy you into a testimony that brings others to life. Don't fear the fire. It's not here to punish you. It's here to reveal who you really are. You were not made for ashes. You were made to rise. You were not created for comfort. You were created for glory. And you were not called to fit in. You were chosen to stand apart, set apart, for such a time as this. And time is no longer your enemy. You are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are not late, you are right where grace has led you. Every delay was divine alignment, every closed door was protection, every detour was preparation. Isaiah 30:18 says, "Yet the Lord longs to be gracious to you, therefore he will rise up to show you compassion. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him." So wait with confidence, not passively, but with fire in your bones, knowing that something holy is coming, something you couldn't have built alone, something you wouldn't have asked for, but now you're ready to carry it. Because when it arrives, it won't look like what you expected. It will look like redemption. It will sound like peace. It will feel like home, and it's already on the way. Some breakthroughs come with trumpets, others come like a whisper at midnight, but both are divine, and both require surrender. Now you feel it, not in your emotions, but in your spirit. A quiet assurance, a sacred stillness, a deep knowing that something unseen has already shifted. It's not loud, but it's real. It's not sudden, but it's sure. And it's not temporary. Because what God builds in the secret place will never be shaken in public. You're not walking away the same. You can't. What was broken is being restored. What was dim is being reignited. What was paralyzed by fear is now stepping forward by faith. Because you've touched the hem of something eternal, not religion, not routine, but presence. And when you encounter the real presence of God, everything changes. You don't need all the answers anymore. You just need to keep saying yes. Yes to the refining, yes to the waiting, yes to the rising. Because this is the new beginning. You'll still face battles, but now you'll fight differently. No longer from fear, but from victory. No longer trying to earn God's attention, but walking with the awareness that you already have it. No longer begging for peace, but carrying it wherever you go, because the fire that was lit in this moment was not meant to stay here. It's meant to go with you, into your home, into your work, into every room you enter. You're not leaving full of emotion, you're leaving full of purpose, and that purpose is holy. Isaiah 58:11 says, "The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. You are not running dry. You are not running on fumes. You are being filled with rivers that will not fail, because this moment wasn't just for comfort, it was for commissioning. You've been marked, you've been moved, and now you've been sent to speak life, to shine light, to walk boldly into what others said was impossible. You're not the same, not because everything around you changed, but because you did. You no longer see the storm the same way. You no longer fear the valley. You no longer mistake delay for denial, because now you know God is never late, grace is never wasted, and every moment surrendered to Him becomes holy. This is not goodbye. It's the beginning of a deeper walk, a stronger faith, a steadier heart, one that doesn't panic in silence, but leans in with trust, one that doesn't need to be loud because the Spirit speaks loudest through the still, one that knows, He who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. So, as you step away from this prayer, don't rush back into the noise. Let this moment linger. Let it echo through your decisions, your posture, your prayers. Let it transform how you speak to yourself, how you fight your battles, how you carry your calling. Because now you are no longer walking in circles, you're walking in purpose. And if this prayer moved you, if you felt God speaking to the deepest parts of your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Write a comment below. Say Amen, share your favorite verse, or type the name of someone you're praying for. Sometimes your words are the answer someone else was looking for. Click like to let others know this prayer mattered. That single click helps spread the message to more souls needing hope. And subscribe to the channel to stay spiritually connected. This is more than content. This is a place of rest, of fire, of renewal. A place where your spirit is seen, where your prayers are felt, and where your faith is built, one word at a time. Every time you return, you're returning not just to another video, but to the feet of Jesus. So thank you for praying, for believing, for staying through to the end. You are covered, you are loved, and your victory is already in motion. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May He make His face shine upon you, and may He give you peace, not just today, but in every battle still to come. Until next time, keep the fire burning and never forget, you are never alone.